Welcome. Two shadows never sleep. Here night never ends. And every story hides something waiting to be found. From haunted houses buried deep in forgotten American towns, to Halloween nights that went horribly wrong, and old legends whispered by those who claimed they saw something right before the lights went out. So sit back, turn off the lights, and let the shadows tell you what they've been keeping. The voice message came in at 3:17 a.m. It was buried in a folder of hundreds of submissions. From listeners, most were harmless, strange little stories about things that go bump in the night. But this one didn't sound like a story at all. The man on the recording was whispering. His voice trembled, but not from fear. It was from exhaustion. You could hear the wind around him, maybe leaves brushing against the microphone, and then a pause. Long, heavy, filled with a silence that seemed alive. Finally, he said, "If anyone hears this, please don't go near those woods on County Line Road. It watches you. It doesn't move unless you do." That was it. Then static. When I first heard it, I thought it was fake. Some creepy campfire submission for Halloween. But there was something in the man's tone, a kind of cracked sincerity you can't fake. So, against my better judgment, I decided to dig a little deeper. County Line Road wasn't far, about 40 minutes outside of Bloomington, Indiana, a nowhere stretch of asphalt between old farmland and a patch of forest so dense it looked black even in daylight. The locals called it Hollow's Edge. I told myself I'd just drive by during the day, record some ambience, maybe get a few photos for the channel. But by the time I finished setting up my equipment, the sun had already dipped behind the trees. The road was empty. My headlights cut through a haze of thin mist that clung to the asphalt like smoke. I parked near the sign that said County Line, no maintenance beyond this point. The moment I stepped out of the car, the air changed. Cold, still, even the crickets went silent. I started recording. "Okay," I said quietly, voice shaky. "This is a field log for a listener story submission, titled The Shadow in the Woods. Location, County Line Road, Southern Indiana. Time is 8:46 p.m. I pointed my flashlight at the tree line. The beam vanished into the fog like it was swallowed. And that's when I noticed it. Between two trees, maybe 40 feet away, something was standing there, not moving, just watching. At first I thought it was a trick of the light, some tree stump catching the beam weirdly. But when I shifted the light slightly, it shifted too. Not much, just enough to make my throat close. I blinked hard, lifted the flashlight higher. The shape was human. Too tall, shoulders too narrow, no face. Then the beam flickered, and it was gone. I stood there frozen for what felt like minutes. Then I laughed. The nervous kind of laugh you do when you're trying to convince yourself you imagined it. "Probably a deer," I said out loud, even though I didn't believe it. I walked closer to the woods, microphone still recording. The smell hit me first, damp soil and something sweet, like rot. Every step made the ground sink a little deeper. My flashlight beam caught faint marks on the trees, long vertical scratches running almost 6 feet high. The deeper I went, the quieter it got, and then, that sound, a faint tapping, like someone knocking on hollow wood, slowly, tap, tap, tap. I turned in a full circle. "Hello?" No answer. The tapping stopped. I swallowed hard and decided I'd gotten enough. I started back toward the car, except the path I'd come down didn't look the same. The fog had thickened. The trees seemed closer. "Okay," I whispered. "It's fine. Just follow the lights." But when I turned my flashlight toward where I'd parked, the headlights were gone. Everything was dark. Then, behind me, that tapping again. Closer this time. Tap, tap, tap. I spun around, and my light caught something. Not a person, not an animal. Just a patch of darker darkness between the trees. The shape leaned forward, almost curious. It moved when I did. I froze, lifted my hand slightly, and it lifted its own, not exactly mirroring me, more like echoing the motion half a second too late. Every instinct screamed to run, but my legs wouldn't move. Then a whisper brushed past my ear, not from behind me, but from everywhere at once. "It sees you." The flashlight flickered out. For a few seconds, I could hear nothing but my own breathing. Then something heavy shifted in the dirt ahead, slow footsteps, deliberate, like someone testing the ground. I turned the flashlight back on. It worked for a heartbeat, and what I saw burned into my brain. The figure was right there, 10 feet away. It didn't have eyes, but somehow, I knew it was looking straight at me. Its skin, if you could call it that, rippled like smoke trapped under glass. Its limbs were wrong, bending slightly backward at the joints. When I took a step back, it mimicked me, same rhythm, same distance. But when I stopped, it didn't keep coming. I ran. I don't remember how long. The forest felt endless, the ground soft and shifting under my feet. I stumbled, fell, kept running. I didn't even look back until I saw the faint glint of my car's taillight through the mist. I dove inside, slammed the door, started the engine, but before I could drive, I saw movement in the rearview mirror. It was standing at the edge of the trees, perfectly still, just watching. Then, slowly, it raised one hand, palm open, fingers long and thin, and pointed directly at me. The dash lights flickered. My car engine sputtered and died. Everything went black again. I must have blacked out for a few seconds, because when I came to, it was gone. The headlights came back on by themselves. The road ahead was clear. I didn't wait to question it. I drove until I saw another car, another human face, anything. I told myself I'd never go back. But the next morning, I got an email. No subject line, no name, just a single sentence. "You saw it too." Attached was an audio file, 30 seconds long. The same tapping I'd heard in the woods, but under it, faint, so faint you almost couldn't hear it, was breathing, and in the final 2 seconds of the recording, a voice, my voice, whispering, "It's still outside." I didn't sleep for 2 nights after that. I scrubbed the files, deleted the audio, tried to convince myself I'd dreamed it, but curiosity's a disease, and I already had it bad. I traced the email's origin to a small town called Hollow Creek, about 15 miles west of County Line, according to old newspaper archives. There had been a disappearance there in 1989, a man named Daniel Wright, last seen hiking in those same woods. His wife had filed multiple reports about shadows following their house at night. Police found nothing, but the strangest part, the name on the 1989 missing person report, Daniel Wright, was the same as the man who'd left that first 3:17 a.m. voice message, and that message had been sent 2 nights ago. I stared at the file date again, checked the metadata 3 times. The timestamp matched perfectly, sent from an active account only 48 hours ago. Someone using Daniel Wright's name was still out there, and whatever that shadow was, it wasn't finished with me. It wasn't finished with me. The first scream came from the trees. It was sharp, brief, like someone's breath had been snatched mid-sentence. Everyone froze. The fire crackled, sending sparks into the air, but no one moved. The sound had come from the same direction that I'd seen the shadow earlier, deep in the woods. My skin went cold. "Probably just an animal," Caleb said, though his voice cracked. "No animal screams like that," Lily whispered. The air around us had grown thicker, colder. Even the crickets had gone silent. I looked at my phone, no signal. The bars were gone, replaced by a gray X. When the second scream came, it was closer. We stood up instantly. Flashlights flickered on, slicing through the fog like thin blades. The beam from mine hit the tree's end. I swore I saw movement. Something tall and thin slipped between the trunks, too fast to catch a proper look. "Who's there?" Caleb shouted, his voice trembling. Nothing answered. just that hollow stillness pressing against our ears. We decided to pack up. The tent, the cooler, everything shoved into the back of the truck in frantic silence. But as I reached to close the tailgate, something in the darkness moved again. A figure, standing just beyond the FIRELIGHT. It didn't walk closer. It didn't run. It just stood there, swaying slightly, like it was watching. "Do you see that?" I whispered. They did. The figure's head tilted slowly, unnaturally far to the side. Lily gasped. Caleb cursed and turned the headlights on. The beam swept across the clearing, nothing. Empty, but the shadow remained, not cast by any object, just floating on the fog. "Drive," I said. We tore out of there. Gravel flew behind the tires, the trees blurring past as the forest swallowed our path. I kept looking out the back window, expecting to see it chasing us, but all I saw was darkness. When we hit the main road, everyone exhaled at once. The relief was thick, desperate, but even then, I couldn't shake it. That image of the figure standing just outside the light. We stopped at a gas station 30 minutes later. The old man behind the counter watched us come in like he'd seen this before. "You kids camping out near Holbrook Woods?" he asked. I nodded. He sighed. "You shouldn't go there after dark. Not since they found the girl." "What girl?" Lily asked. He looked at her, then away. "Back in '93. Local kid. She went missing one night. Her parents said she was out camping with friends. Same spot, probably. Only thing they ever found was her tent and footprints. Said she was running from something." I felt the hairs on my arms rise. "They never found her body." He shook his head slowly. "They never found anything?" We left the gas station in silence. The road home was empty, swallowed by mist. Caleb tried to lighten the mood, turning on the radio, but it only played static. Every station. Halfway home, the truck's lights flickered. Once, twice. Then the engine stuttered and died. "Are you kidding me?" Caleb muttered, slamming the steering wheel. We were on a long stretch of road, no lights, no houses, nothing. Just trees on both sides. The kind of dark that doesn't feel empty, but occupied. He got out to check under the hood, muttering about loose cables. Lily sat in the back seat, hugging her knees. I could see her breath fogging the glass. Then I noticed something behind her window. At first, I thought it was just the reflection of a tree, but the shape was wrong. Too close. "Too still, Lily," I whispered. "Don't move." She turned and screamed. The figure was pressed against the window, its face pale and stretched, eyes black and endless. It wasn't human. The glass fogged from its breath, Thor something like breath, slow and rhythmic. Caleb jumped in as I hit the locks. The figure didn't move. It just watched, tapping a single finger against the glass. Each tap made a hollow sound, like bone against bone. Caleb turned the key again. The truck roared back to life. The headlights burst on lighting, the figure full in the face. It vanished, just gone, like it had never been there. We drove without stopping until we saw the lights of town. That night, none of us spoke much. We just sat in Caleb's garage, the smell of gasoline thick in the air, trying to make sense of it. Lily cried once, quietly. Caleb just stared at the floor. I kept thinking about the old man's words. The girl from 1993. The footprints. The tent. Running from something. Sleep didn't come easy. When I finally drifted off, I dreamed of the woods again, of the figure standing between the trees, except this time it was closer, and when it tilted its head, I saw its face clearly. It was Lily's. I woke up drenched in sweat. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message from Lily. "Did you hear it again?" My fingers shook. "Hear what?" I texted back. No reply. I called her. Straight to voicemail. By noon, I was driving to her house. The curtains were drawn, her car still in the driveway. I know. When I tried the handle, the door creaked open. The house was cold, quiet, but there was a smell earthy like damp soil. I followed it into the living room. Her phone was on the table, screen cracked. Muddy footprints led to the back door. They weren't hers. Outside, the ground was disturbed as if something had crawled through, not walked. Crawled, and on the window, drawn with a finger in condensation, were 3 words: "It follows sound." That night, Caleb came over, pale as chalk. "I heard it," he said. "In the woods." I swear I heard her voice. I didn't ask who he meant. We both knew. We went back. Stupid, I know, but it didn't feel like a choice. There's something about fear that pulls you back, even when every instinct says run. Holbrook Woods looked different this time, thicker, wilder, like it had grown overnight. The deeper we went, the quieter it got. And then we heard her, Lily's voice, soft, calling my name. It came from somewhere, up ahead. Caleb ran toward it before I could stop him. His flashlight beam bounced wildly through the trees. I followed, my heart slamming against my ribs. He stopped suddenly, breathing hard. "She's here," he whispered. But it wasn't her. The figure was there instead, crouched in the mud. When it looked up, its face flickered, Lily's features appearing, then melting away into something else. Its mouth moved, but the voice that came out wasn't human. "Stay." The ground split beneath Caleb's feet. I grabbed his hand, pulling hard, but something yanked him down. He screamed once, and then he was gone. I fell backward, clawing at the dirt. The figure leaned closer. Its skin shimmered, like wet bark. "You heard it," it whispered. "Now it hears you," it whispered. "Now it hears you." The wood swallowed the scream before it could echo. I stumbled backward, mud clinging to my shoes. My flashlight shaking so violently the beam split into shards across the trees. Caleb was gun-swallowed by that open wound in the ground, like the earth itself had taken him. The hole was gone too, as if it had never existed. The forest floor looked smooth, untouched, the air eerily still. "Caleb," my voice cracked. Only the wind replied, cold and hollow. Something moved behind me. I spun around. The light caught the figure again, taller now, its shadow stretching across the roots like liquid darkness. It didn't walk, it shifted, the way a reflection does on water when you move too close. "Where are they?" I shouted, my throat raw. It tilted its head again, the same slow, unnatural motion. Its voice came from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Under, what do you want from us?" The wind picked up, carrying whispers. Dozens of voices, overlapping Lily, Caleb, the girl from the old man's story. They all said the same thing. "Listen." The sound became unbearable. A low hum vibrated in my skull until I dropped to my knees, covering my ears. But the noise wasn't coming from outside. It was inside my head. The shadow drew closer. I ran. Branches tore at my jacket, roots caught my feet, but I didn't stop. The wood seemed endless now, twisting in directions that shouldn't exist. I could feel it behind me, the air thickening, temperature dropping with every step. I broke through the trees and stumbled into a clearing I didn't recognize. In the center stood an old wooden structure, a cabin, maybe. Half collapsed, roof missing, the walls slick with moss. Something about it felt wrong, familiar. When I pushed the door open, it creaked like a dying animal. Inside, there were sleeping bags, old, decayed, rusted lanterns, and on the floor, names scratched into the wood. Lily, Caleb, and beneath them mine. The air shifted. Footsteps behind me. I turned slowly. The figure was standing in the doorway, light bleeding around it like the woods themselves were bending to its shape. I stumbled backward, my shoulder hitting the wall. It didn't move closer, just spoke in that layered voice. "You followed sound. Now sound follows you." My flashlight flickered. When it steadied, the cabin was gone. I was standing in my room. It was daylight. For a moment, I thought I'd dreamed it all. My heart slowed. The window was open, sunlight pooling across the floor. My phone was on the nightstand, buzzing. Unknown number. I answered. Static. Then Caleb's voice. Don't leave the house. The line cut. I dropped the phone. My hands were shaking again. It couldn't be him. He was gone. I saw him fall. I turned toward the mirror above my dresser and froze. Behind me, faint but visible, was a shadow that didn't belong to me. That night, I didn't sleep. Every sound, the wind, the floorboards, my own breath felt like it was being echoed. I started hearing whispers again, soft at first, then louder. Sometimes, they said my name. Other times, they just laughed. The next morning, I went to the gas station. The old man was still there. When he saw me, his face went pale. You went back, didn't you? I nodded. My friends are gone. He sighed deeply. You don't go into that forest to find someone. You go to join them. I stared at him. What do you mean? He leaned closer. That thing, whatever it is, it doesn't take bodies. It takes echoes. Every person who disappears becomes part of it. That's why you hear the voices. They're not calling for help. They're warning you. But I saw them. I said, I heard them. He shook his head. You heard it. And now it knows you're listening. I left without saying another word. For days I tried to convince myself it wasn't real, but strange things started happening. The lights in my house would flicker. The shadows under the doors moved when I wasn't looking. Sometimes I'd wake up to find dirt on the floor, damp footprints leading toward my bed. One night, I found mud on my hands. I hadn't left the house. By the end of the week, I was afraid of sleep. I'd hear tapping on the windows around 3 a.m. Always 3 taps. Always slow. When I looked, there was never anyone there, but the reflection on the glass wasn't mine. I started recording everything. My phone, my laptop, even an old tape recorder I found in my dad's garage. I wanted proof, something to tell me I wasn't losing my mind. On the third night, I caught something at 3:02 a.m. The tapping started again. Then a voice, whispering right into the mic. You followed sound, then silence. I checked the window, empty. But when I looked at the recording again, I noticed something else. A shape reflected in the glass, faint and distant. It was standing in the woods behind my house. I hadn't realized until that moment that the tree line was closer than it used to be. Each day, it seemed like the forest was creeping in, roots pushing through the soil, vines curling up the fence. It was as if the woods were growing toward me. By the next night, the whispers were constant. I stopped recording. There was no point anymore. It wanted me to listen. At 3:33 a.m., I gave in. I opened the back door. The night was still. The trees stood silent, but their shadows stretched across the yard like long black fingers. I stepped outside barefoot. The ground was damp, the air heavy. The whispering stopped. Then, from somewhere deep in the dark, Lily's voice, "Come back." I walked forward. My mind told me to turn around, but my body moved on its own. The further I went, the quieter the world became, like the forest was swallowing sound. When I reached the tree line, the air grew cold again. My breath came out in sharp, white bursts. And then I saw it. The same clearing. The same spot where Caleb disappeared. Only now, there were 3 figures standing there. Lily, Caleb, and someone else. Me. They all stared with hollow eyes. Their mouths moved, but I couldn't hear the words. Then the ground beneath them began to ripple, like liquid shadow. The thing rose out of it, taller than before. Its body made of every missing person's silhouette. Their faces flickered across it, like trapped reflections. It reached for me, and in that instant, I realized what the whispers meant. It didn't hunt. It waited. It needed people to listen, to believe. The more you listened, the louder it became, and once you heard it, it could find you anywhere. I screamed, but no sound came out. The world folded in on itself. I woke up in my car, parked outside my house. Morning sunlight hit the windshield. My phone was dead. My clothes were wet, covered in mud. I stumbled inside. Everything looked normal, except for one thing. On the kitchen table was a note, written in my handwriting. Never listen to the woods. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, I've moved. New city, new job, miles away from Holbrook. But every night at exactly 3:33 a.m., I still wake up. And for a few seconds, I hear it. The faintest echo of tapping 3 times. And sometimes, when I look toward the window, I see the outline of the woods behind the glass. The trees shouldn't be there. They move closer every night. And be there. They move closer every night.